Hello, and welcome to today's Best of 3 historic deck tech and gameplay video. The deck in question we'll be playing today is Green-White Enchantress, or Rune-tress as I've sort of taken to calling it, that makes use of existing Enchantress style effects, and as well as using some of the new Kaldheim rune synergies to sort of help take this deck one step further. And for our video today, we'll do a little deck tech first, and then we'll do our normal little, usually 2 best of 3s to show the deck in action. With that all out of the way, we will just get to the actual deck tech in question. Now, basically a third of how a good Enchantress deck works in the format is the actual Enchantresses themselves. First being Core Spirit Dancer. This card, if you were paying attention to the historic metagame as of this recording and today, has been used extensively in Azorius versions of this deck. I believe if you're running a white-based version of this deck, it should be in the deck in question. Where, again, Core Spirit Dancer, for those who don't know, is a 2-mana 0/2 that gets a +2/2 buff for each aura attached to it, and whenever you cast an aura spell, you may draw a card. Importantly, the draw card does not trigger solely based on artifacts that target the Spirit Dancer. So, with effects like these, as well as all of our auras already drawing us cards when they come into play, sorry, I had a brain fart. As well as with our Enchantress effects, the enchant in question already draws cards, so we are pretty good at generating card advantage. The next Enchantress effect is Sram Senior Edificer, a 2-mana 2/2, that when you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, although for our deck's purposes it's pretty much all auras and technically 1 equipment, we draw a card. Again, it's a very classic Enchantress effect, and is okay if you need it to be the body that you attach the auras to. Next we have Starfield Mystic, a 2-mana 2/2 that makes enchantment spells, in this case auras, cost 1 less to cast, and whenever an enchantment you control, or we control, is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So if you want to, say, Voltron up a Core Spirit Dancer and make it really big, your opponent, as they most likely will have a removal spell for it. At least when the Spirit Dancer dies and all of the enchantments go away, at least the Starfield Mystic does get somewhat big to compensate for what you lose. We also have 2 Runeforged Champions, which is a 2-mana 2/3 that when it enters the battlefield, you can insert your library, and this is the most important part, your graveyard, for a rune card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. And if you search your library, you shuffle. Also, it's kind of similar to the Starfield Mystic in that the Runeforged Champion makes your rune spells in particular cost 1 generic mana as opposed to whatever their mana cost is. What is not entirely obvious, or what you would not think, is that if you have the Runeforged Champion out and your runes cost 1 generic mana, and you also have a Starfield Mystic out, they are quite literally free to cast and net you card draw. It is a very important thing if you want to try and restock very fast, as well as just, again, generally being what the deck wants to do. I also have 2 copies of Selesnya Champion, pardon the pronunciation. Is a 3-mana 1/3 with Constellation, which is whenever an enchantment, all the auras in our deck, enters the battlefield under your control, and it could be targeting anything. Selesnya Champion gets a +1/+1 counter on it and draws a card. Again, if you use our card draw engine, it gets big even if we Voltron something else up. And as is the case with all of our aforementioned Enchantress creatures, any one of them can be a good target to use the auras on. A slight side note to the Enchantress creatures in question is we are running 4 of what is probably my favorite card to come out of the set, Faceless Haven, which can be for 3 snow mana, for which we run pretty much most of our lands are snow covered. For 3 mana we can turn it into a 4/3 creature with vigilance and all types until the end of the turn. And this is particularly good with the runes in particular, which we'll get to in a second, because they can target permanents. So you can, if you need to, chuck some runes into a Faceless Haven and let them sit there and kind of be kind of like a boot knife little thing you're sitting on when you need it to, whenever the Faceless Haven gets turned on. Now, for the actual auras in question, we run 2 All That Glitters, a 2 mana enchantment where enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment we control. With this card, basically, we can get very big very fast, as this is basically what our deck does. I have a singleton copy of Angelic Gift, which is a 2 mana enchant aura, where we enchant a creature, and the enchanted creature has flying, as well as when it enters the battlefield you draw a card. Again, the deck does enjoy, while it does enjoy big creatures, we do need to give them some form of evasion. Granted, this is usually in the form of, like, trample, but in my experimentation with this deck, both over the last couple of days and pre-Kaldheim versions, sometimes flying is exactly what you need. Now, we'll get on to the sort of newest cards of the show, or newest and most important cards to this deck that came to us from Kaldheim. The first is Rune of Sustenance. It's a 2 mana or rune that enchants any permanent, which again, as we talked about earlier, can enchant a Faceless Haven if you need it to, can enchant a Rune Crown, which we'll talk about in a minute, or any of the creatures in question. As for the rest of it, when the Rune of Sustenance, or any rune card, enters the battlefield, you draw a card, so at minimum it replaces itself, and again, with all of our Enchantress effects, it's oftentimes netting us card draw. And the enchanted permanent, if the enchanted permanent is a creature, it gains lifelink, and if the enchanted permanent is an equipment, then it has the equipped creature gains lifelink. Rune of Might is the same thing, but is the green color shifted version. So again, when a green enchant permanent draws a card. The Rune of Might, however, gives us +1/+1 in trample, which is really the preferred form of evasion for this deck. We run 3 copies of Ancestral Mask, which came in one of the earlier historic anthologies. It's a 3 mana enchantment aura with enchanting creature, or to enchanted creature, and the enchanted creature gets +2/+2 for each other enchantment on the battlefield. The synergy does speak for itself, but there is one minor little extra synergy that most opponents don't think about. It says for each other, including opponents, so they can, sometimes your opponent can incidentally sort of give you a little bit of extra damage that might be used to kill them. We also have 2 copies of Rune Crown, which is a 3 mana equipment that says when it enters the battlefield you can search your library, hand, and again, and or graveyard for a rune card. You can put it onto the battlefield, attached to the Rune Crown, and if you search your library, you shuffle. The Rune Crown by itself, without any sort of other runes on it, gives +1/+1, and it has an equip for 2. Again, a good way to kind of sit on runes and let them simmer there until you need them to cash in, as well as being able to get your runes back from the graveyard. Mind you, also, on top of that, whenever you, say, fetch a Rune Crown from your graveyard, or fetch a rune from your graveyard with Rune Crown or Rune Forged Champion, they still enter the battlefield and draw the card. So you aren't really even losing card draw. As for sort of support cards for the deck, we have 2 Karametra's Blessing, It's a 1 mana, target creature gets +2/+2, but more importantly, if it's an enchanted creature, it gains hexproof and indestructible. Again, we like defensive cards that help give us some sort of sustainability and like defensive capabilities, because we're by and large a deck that plays 1 or 2 creatures and makes them very big. We run 2 heroic interventions for much the same reason. This is just basically a color shifted version. It also can protect the enchantments themselves, where Karametra's Blessing cannot. We also run 4 Skyclave Apparitions because the deck doesn't really have a whole lot of, other than the Skyclave Apparition itself, the deck doesn't really have anything in the way of removal main deck, and this is what this is. It can also be a thing you attach auras to if you need to. Otherwise, it's just probably one of the best white removal spells in the format. We already talked about Faceless Haven in the Snow Basics. If you're an aggressive deck in the Historic, you should be running Faceless Haven if you have copies of it, and Snow-Covered Lands. I run 4 Temple Gardens just because they're shock lands. Probably the best. No, they're like the best lands in the format, honestly, and some of the best lands of all time. They're like number 3. Sideboard, 2 more Karametra's Blessing for the same reason. More defensive tools against the really removal-heavy opponents. Same is true of the extra heroic intervention. We run 2 copies of Grafdigger's Cages for your Collected Company decks or your Mux's Goblin decks. We run 3 Devout Decrees against those really annoying mono black controls, and maybe the occasional mono red that comes up as removal that we might otherwise lack in the main deck. We run 3 Knight of Autumns. It's just a good 3 mana card that can either be a good just on curve creature, but usually we bring it in either to gain life against other aggro decks or to destroy target artifact or enchantments in appropriate matchups. We have 2 copies of Settle the Wreckage in the sideboard, because if you are a white aggro deck, you don't really want to run traditional sweepers because they will kill your own things. Settle the Wreckage lets an aggressive white deck run a sweeper that only affects your opponent and not you, which is basically everything you want in a mirror matchup as an aggressive deck. We run 2 Shifting Ceratops because maybe this is just me. I have been running into increasingly more mono blue tempo, and that deck absolutely tears this fucking deck apart. So you need Shifting Ceratops in order to have a snowball's chance in hell of potentially taking a win off of that deck. Now, that is the deck tech in question. If you're going to leave after this point in the video, that's fine. You know, just if you like the video, like it. If you like me, sub to the channel. And if you have any sort of questions or comments, as long as they're constructive, that's what the comment sections are for below the video. And now, with that out of the way, thank you for coming. If you are leaving, and if you're staying, we'll go into the 2 little best of 3 games. Also, you can kind of see in that split second some of the decks I'm working on in future videos. And again, as usual, we try and do these videos with usually 2 best of 3 games. We just want to show the deck doing what it's supposed to do. That does not necessarily mean that a deck has to win in order to show what it's trying to do effectively. A deck can lose and show what it's trying to do. Okay, and now we're into the actual gameplay. Opponent goes first. Honestly, we have 3 lands, things to do. It's not really an explosive opener, but it's not bad. I won't, look a gift horse in the mouth. That's it. Mulligan more. More. And this is like... Oh, I didn't think about the fact that I think Grafdigger's Cage might actually mess up the Tybalt's Trickery combo deck. It might not, so bear that in mind. We will, however, see. I'm a little concerned because I haven't personally run into that deck, but boy does it scare me. We'll go ahead and play the Starfield Mystic. Next turn, if our opponent does not run anything really we need to remove, we'll just run a Status and Champion and build up pressure on the board. So Plains into the Champion, giving him priority for something. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just my game lagging out on my sweet old not laptop, what's it called? Potato of a computer. We'll go ahead and play the Faithless Haven. They appear to be running some sort of teamer deck. You usually only see teamer either in elementals or some sort of weird storm kind of thing, but I could be wrong. So we'll just take this moment to build our board and pressure our opponent until we can actually, you know, try and see what the hell is going on with our opponent's deck. Ah, it is Tybalt's Trickery. Oh, this isn't good. Maybe he'll uptick it? Okay, we actually don't win. Play nice with your sister. We don't win from this, so we'll just go to game 2. I think Cage works like this. I think. I'm a little concerned that it might not. So we'll go ahead and put 2 cages in, and then we'll take 2 blessings out, seeing how we just kind of need to stop our opponent from popping off with his goofy fucking 60% win rate deck. Tybalt's Trickery might get banned, and I think it might need to, because if we're banning Uro, Tybalt's Trickery might actually be stronger than Uro. We'll go ahead and keep this. I'm not gonna lie, this is not a terribly good look. Now, if he just plays the combo, like, you know, and, like, hits the nuts for, like, 2 turns, both games, we'll just do a 3rd game for the video. See what our opponent does. Try him on turn 1. Might as well play the Mystic. Seeing how we don't really interact with this deck in any significant way. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have the thing, or he hasn't drawn the nuts in question. Fingers crossed he doesn't have it. Ah, that's not good. Okay, this deck is a little fucking silly. Yeah, we don't win against that, so we're just gonna move on to the next game. I really think this card might need to be banned. People have done the numbers. I love you, Day 9, but you have kind of spawned a fucking terrible thing on our format. Because I believe you have actually done the math. Anywho. We'll just call that game a mulligan. That's a literal turn 2 basically win the game combo deck. We don't... There's a reason why I don't really play combo decks like that. Because they aren't terribly fun to watch or to play. It's interesting once to see the combo go off, and then that's it. So to the band's credit, this is the first, or that was the first time I've seen that deck played against me in person. Of course, I've watched Day 9 streams, and even, I think Pleasant Kenobi did a video on it. And I think even Saffron Olive has also. So let it be known, I think that card is not healthy for the format. And might actually need to get banned. And not in just that, like, hyperbolic, like, let's ban everything because, haha, we're the internet. I genuinely think that card is not good. Like, it's a very actually bad thing for our format. are those sleeves? That is a very pretty sleeve. I don't think I know that one. Thoughtseize kinda sucks, but like, we kept a resilient hand, so we have things to do. If he takes the Skyclave Apparition... Yeah, nope, that's the correct play. We'll actually play the Spirit Dancer then, probably? Suppose you can make an argument for playing the Sram, as it is a creature with, you know, the ability to, like, damage the board. Are you discard? Are you rogues? Because I run Una's Blackguard in my Historic Rogues list, always, because it's just a rogue lord. Why would you not want one? Suppose we'll see. Maybe this is that weird... Oh, maybe it is rogues. Alright. I'm down. We'll go ahead and Rune of Sustenance the Spirit Dancer. Drawing 3 cards. Of course, we'll draw the card. If we can draw a land, we'd be cooking. You know that isn't game? A goddamn land. Oh, we're in some trouble. If we don't draw a land, we're not dead immediately, but boy, does it not look good. Draw me a land. Draw me a land. I think we'll get rid of a Mystic. Okay, we might have literally lost. No, you're about a turn behind. I guess we just chuck the Spirit Dancer. I just now realized it wasn't a white source. Okay, we actually have to draw a white source. Otherwise, I think we just lose the game. Our opponent has drawn amazing. Take the other Spirit Dancer. Thank you. With this, I believe we can make something happen here. Oh yeah, Tiny Bones is a rogue. I forgot about that. I think we're actually going to chuck the Heroic Intervention. Simply because we have Skyclave Apparitions to help slowly pick apart his board. Go ahead and play the Faceless Haven, because why not? Gotta take out the Nighthawk Scavenger, as that is actually threatening. We won't attack, because I don't want to give our opponent a free creature. This is a give me trade. Oh boy. Can I have a land, please? Oh, that's right. Fuck. Shit. Okay, that's better. We will search. I don't think we had any in the light. Oh no, we had a Rune of Sustenance. Okay, we'll get the Sustenance out of the graveyard. We'll just target one of them. The particulars don't really matter. We can actually play it for 1, which is nice. And 1 generic also helps you kind of fix mana. We'll go ahead and attack with 2 health. Maybe he'll take a trade. Who knows? We literally have to do this to try and, you know, make a board big enough to maybe scare our opponent. But to be fair, it's like mono black discard rogue. It's basically mono black Tiny Bones, really. I forgot about the activated ability of Tiny Bones. Ah, crap. Alright, that was my screw up. Now, as for our sideboard plan, I don't think we... I guess we can... Hang on, let's actually look at it like this. I changed the deck layout while I'm doing the deck tech. We'll bring in some Devout Decrees. Probably get rid of a Mask. Probably And all the glitters. And maybe a Starfield Mystic, honestly. Since we're gonna need to bring in more, like, answers. I do like a MTG Pro Padres deck. It is a spicy one. A man after my own heart. Or a person after my own heart. Let's not assume. Alright, that's an awful draw. That's technically better. Boy, oh boy, game. I'm gonna need a white source from you. Probably Thoughtseize? Yep. It is a good card. Probably takes a Rune Forge. Nope, takes the... Okay, that's technically a land, but it isn't really gonna help me. Kinda need a white source. Really need a white source. Oh, don't mill over a white source, please. Yay! Okay, that's technically something to do. No, it's not, because that wasn't... Okay, we'll give it one more turn. If we miss a land drop again, we're just going to scoop and go to the next game. Yeah. Why are you running a Phyrexian Tower? The castle makes sense for what you're trying to do. I just don't know what you want to ramp into. All of your creatures so far has had like some pretty good like synergy. You don't really want to... Why are you sacrificing that? Okay, you're ramping into something big. This is miserable. If we don't draw a white source, yeah, we'll just scoop and accept the fact that sometimes you lose games. Thank God, didn't mill over one. That is a white source. I can do that. Play the Runeforged Champion. Did we... Or did they end up milling one? We can... Okay, so we can search our graveyard for Rune of Sustenance. And we'll go ahead and attach that to our Runeforged Champion. Well, now we're just drawing all the lands we need. I hate my life. I still do believe that... Hang on, let me do this correctly. I have 2 white sources, so we can Starfield Mystic. This will be good to at least showcase the interaction I was talking about earlier. Runeforged Champion in a little way. Actually, maybe we search our library for a Rune of Might, and then we attach the Rune of Might and the Rune of Sustenance for free. And this is the the Runeforged Champion, making it cost 1 generic, and then the Starfield Mystic, reducing it to 0. Little interaction we were talking about earlier. Go ahead and do the same thing. There's your Runeforged Crown. Depending on what he attacks with next turn, we shall see. Okay, he has a Rankle, which, while that sucks, if he makes us sacrifice a creature, we're actually not too miserable with that. So we lose life, draw a card, sack a creature, go ahead and take the Mystic Sir. And we get our thing back. That's actually not too bad. I don't know if we win, but boy oh boy is this going to feel good. This is why we run a single copy of the Angelic Gift, because sometimes you just need a little bit of evasion. Then we'll cast all the glitters, making our creature fucking massive by all accounts. We'll go ahead and play a Core Spirit Dancer. Hi, Carmel! I know your sister's being a bit of an asshole. And for that, I apologize. And now we just had a huge life point swing. We are doing pretty good on cards. All things considered. Hi, Carmel. Well, that fucking sucks, but what are you gonna do? If they make us sacrifice a creature, I'm actually not convinced that's the correct play either. Really, he sacrifices the... Well, I guess they both have Death Touch now. We'll go ahead and sacrifice the illusion. A Karametra's Blessing is actually very, very big. We'll go ahead and play the Rune Crown. We will search probably our graveyard. Grabbing a Rune of Sustenance. Drawing a card when it enters. Well, the fucking land was supposed to be a little better than that. We will go ahead and swing, hoping he takes the block. Oh, there we go. So he doesn't take... Well... Yeah, that'll fucking do it. Mono black, Tiny Bones, Rogue Tribal. Again, I love your style, brother. I need you to stop eating all my Skyclave apparitions, though, because I think that's all of them gone. So we no longer have any more removal in the main board. So we gotta pray to God we make some ish happen here. Please stop removing all my stuff. Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, alright, yeah, to be fair. I'm just gonna get milled out, which fucking sucks. What are you gonna do? I don't know. We need some real fucking killer draws to come back in this thing. 21 cards in our library. But again, our man, MTG Pro Padre. It is a good deck, my man. Okay, if he makes a sack a creature, we kinda hate our goddamn life. To the man's credit, however, it is the correct thing to do. So we can, my turn. So if I activate the Haven first, I will then play the other Faceless Haven. We'll tap 2 to equip the Haven with the Crown. I'm a little scared that we're gonna die. Please let this go off before it happens. No, because that's not how the stack works. Fuck my life. I think we literally die no matter what happens now. That fucking sucks. Yep. Good game. Was us just that close to turning the corner. We might do one more game, seeing how the Tybalt's Trickery deck kind of robbed us of what would be a normal game. So, apologies if this video runs a little longer than normal. This is the way of things. But I would like to say, though, that that deck, or that particular best of 3, did a good job of showing what the deck can do. And showing kind of how it works and how it plays. How it can be explosive if it needs to, but isn't, like, invulnerable. There are moments like that where if you just really relentlessly attack our resources and don't let us, like, catch early on, then the deck really struggles to get off the ground. Oh, please, give me something good here, game. We'll get rid of the Rune of Sustenance and then just pray to the heavens we draw a snow-covered plains. See what our opponent plays. Thank you for just cracking the Fabled Passage on turn 1. I know that's not... Yay! the, like, optimal play, but come on. Anybody at home watching, just crack the Fabled Passage. Which, I mean, I know it's, again, the smart play, but goddamn. Oh, no. Please, no. Oh, thank God. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play the Haven this turn, so I can play a Plains next turn, and then, if nothing else, turn on the Faceless Haven and start cracking him in the head. Since he didn't give us the thing that we need to apparition away. A Mammoth is a thing to okay, so I was concerned that this was going to be that Tybalt's Trickery deck, but I don't think it is that. So we will play these Plains, play the Apparition, getting rid of their Kazandu Mammoth. Suppose we'll see what... I mean, I guess our opponent, is he playing just some sort of, like, Gruul good stuff? Or is he playing, like, Gruul Landfall in particular? Alright, I mean, fair. It's a good card. So I can't really hold it against you that much. Pathway from our opponent. Are you, like, Gruul Adventures, I guess? Which is fine, honestly. I guess we'll just play the Mask even though there's nothing else on the field. We're just looking to get card advantage and pray to God they don't have another stop. Because if they do, we're just kind of dead. That's fine. I actually haven't really seen an Adventures deck that I can think of in the last, like, 100 or so games. I cannot remember the last time I've seen one in Historic. I mean, good on the man. So we'll go ahead and play the Apparition, getting rid of the Bone Crusher. The card draw doesn't terribly matter to me as much as just preserving our life totals. Playing the Angelic Gift on the Sram, drawing us cards. Go ahead and start cracking in and applying pressure. And if nothing else, the Apparition can block an Innkeeper from attacking. Next turn, we can Rune of Might the Sram again. Okay, I cannot Skyclave a Elder Gargaroth. I'm not gonna lie. Kinda sucks. Okay, that's a thing. So we'll go ahead and Rune of Might on the Sram. The Gargaroth does have reach, I do remember this, but I think we just need to make it our creature big enough to where we don't care, for lack of a better word. I guess we just run the Mystic out as like a body? I believe the only kind of, or it's giving him Fabled Passage priority. So we'll go ahead and swing, honestly. We just have to make him block if he's gonna. I mean, fair, that's an option. Of course, I suppose because it has Vigilance, he can start swinging, or he can start cracking back with, like, minimal downside. Playing an Edge Wall. We have our Blessing on hand. If he kills the Starfield Mystic, we kind of don't care. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose anything, but our Sram's alive. Which is kind of how we're going to win the game. A little bit. If they don't take forever and a day. I'm not going to lie, I was giving you credit beforehand. So correct, the Fabled Passage. Ah, okay. At least now we're making sense. Is he going to gain life or start making creatures? That is the question. And gaining life. If I can find a Rune of Sustenance, we're like kind of cooking a little bit. We are taking 9 damage here, but I think we can honestly just afford to take it. As weird as that might sound. Guess hi, honey. Hi, baby. If you want to come hang out, that's fine. I suppose if he had that Domri's Ambush, that would suck. Scavenging Ooze blows a lot, actually. That will honestly kind of do it. We'll go ahead and play the Glitters first and see what we draw. The reduction from Starfield Mystic is going to hopefully come in handy. Nope, not even a little bit. We will Skyclave the Mammoth. And then I guess we just start cracking him again in the head with this. At least now... I'm sorry, is he not blocking? I'll take a win. Did not think we were just going to be handed that one, but alright, he could have very easily blocked and lived to tell the tale. But by all means, do you, dude. Weirdly, because it says, or because Settle the Wreckage says, well, it's attacking creatures. I thought it was tapped. Well, okay, we'll bring in Settles. I'm sorry, I thought Settle the Wreckage was, whatever that enchantment is that removes tapped creatures. I can't think of the name from Dominaria. But we'll cut out a champion and a rune crown. Seeing how sweepers are kind of the only thing we're going to need here, really. Hopefully we can just take this game pretty easily. Stop giving me one-landers. Okay, that's technically better. Just not by much. We'll go ahead and get rid of all the glitter. Yeah, all the glitters can go. Only shooting stars. Copyright, copyright, copyright. See what opponent doesn't want green. Fair enough, an Innkeeper. We'll play the Temple Garden untapped and see what our opponent does. We really need a creature. We need an Enchantress, not enchantments right now. Alright, that's an option. Sram will do it. Now we just have to hope and pray that it happens to live a goddamn turn. Oh, please live. Please don't stop my dude. Because if it manages to live this turn, we're kind of cooking. I'm a little concerned. Alright, we're alive by all accounts. We'll just eat the 2 damage. Play a Forest. Play a Rune of Might. Again, we want to try and now basically always leave open Blessing mana. Our opponent plays the Passage and sacks it. We could be in some like very real trouble. A Questing Beast would suck, or a fucking Great Hinge. Jesus. That is a fucking option. Goddamn. Yeah, fucking Ooze. That sucks. Yeah, man. Great Hinge is a fucking ludicrous card. Really, he just gives it up. Alright. I'll take the trade. Guess we can do Spirit Dancer, and again keep mana open for the Blessing. Next turn we can play a Plains, and then dump 2 Rune of Sustenances onto the Spirit Dancer in question, and hopefully swing this board state back to a good spot. He does have more than enough, or he has more than enough for... Yeah, that fucking sucks. This actually needs to live. I was going to say he has more than enough for Embercleave, but I don't think this deck runs Embercleave. Okay, that's something. Of course, if he plays the card, that fucking sucks, but we're live right now, which is more than we can usually say, honestly. Let's see, he swings for 8 damage, and I think if he swings for 8, I believe the right play is to just eat it. What did he exile? Oh, the Shield Breaker. I mean, smart on him for using his own yard. Hitting for 9, but I think we actually just leave that alone and let it go. So we do Plains, Sustenance on the Shield, on the Spirit Dancer, sorry. Go ahead and draw every card we can off it, because goddamn are we gonna need it. We'll play the Ancestral Mask, hopefully giving us enough to not die in the process. Okay, I don't know if we live, but boy do I hope we not die. Because if we can live the next turn, we can like make a genuinely like hopefully massive swing. I hope that our big 8/10 Spirit Dancer that's attached to Kingdom Come will give us the life buffer we need to like maybe take this game back. Does he just attack with everybody? By the way, I was totally wrong. He 100% runs. Because that's first strike damage, I think I fucking lose. I guess we just double block and pray. I literally don't even know, so we're just rolling the dice here. Because he doesn't get through, so he kills the Sram, and then that big old trade happens. And we still die. Good on you, I suppose. I have not seen a deck like that, I think, literally ever, or damn near ever. So yeah, I guess our plan is maybe I get rid of the champion and the crown for a couple Nights of Autumn. Because that Great Hand is a stupidly strong card. But to the man's credit, he has given me a good game to close out on, so can't really hold you or give you too much shit now, can I? This is a hand. I can do something with this. Probably Spirit Dancer on 2, Mystic on 3, even if I don't draw another land, which I hope I do. Yeah, Innkeeper's a good card, by all accounts. Playing the Spirit Dancer first. Again, game, I would very much enjoy having a land. A green source would be the shit, but I'll take anything. If he has a stomp. Okay, cool. Doesn't have a stomp. That's a land. I can do something with that. Starfield Mystic, making the Rune of Sustenance 1 mana, targeting the Spirit Dancer, and drawing cards. We have our green source for next turn. I think depending on what kind of nut draw our opponent has, I think we have a really good opener and we happen to catch very early on, this is the kind of opener you want in this deck. next turn, we'll probably Shock in the Garden, play Rune of Might, All That Glitters, and Rune of Sustenance, and just hope to kind of blow our opponent out, really. Seeing how it doesn't... Gruul decks won't really have a way to deal with certain creatures past, like, a certain size threshold, besides just playing a big creature themselves. And that's, you know, appropriate for the Gruul color identity. Okay, our opponent's playing cards and drawing cards. He's going neutral on resources. We just eat that 2 all day long. So yeah, I believe our plan... Hang on. If I play the champion... If I play the champion, my 2 runes are for free. My All That Glitters is 1. I think this is the correct play. So we'll Shock a Temple Garden in, play a Rune Forge, grabbing from our library another Rune of Might. Our Starfield Mystic makes all of these things for free. We'll go ahead and All That Glitters first in order to avoid any auto-tap screwing or auto-tap fucketry. We'll go ahead and draw, and then we'll just dump 3 runes for free onto our Spirit Dancer. Yay! I think we've drawn the nuts. I genuinely do not think our opponent can come back from this. And if we hit any more runes along the way, that's just fucking gravy. Oh, that's amazing. Yay! I'm so proud. Yeah! Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, jump block, dude. Oh god, what do you want me to discard, game? Oh, I don't give a shit. Okay, we should probably be smart because we got some gas in our hands. We'll get rid of the Haven. That's really good. I know, honey. Daddy happy. Yay! He just scoops. We did it! Our last game showed how this deck fucking rocks and is actually pretty good. Seeing how this is the sole deck that's gotten me from Platinum to now Plat 2. So the deck has something going for it. So that was our amazing deck tech and gameplay video for Green-White Enchantress, or Rune-tress if you want to call it that. Of course, I'm not going to call the video that for search algorithm purposes. But we'll go ahead and show the deck itself one last time. Want to thank you all for watching. Go ahead and like the video if you like the video in question in the deck. If you like me and want to see more videos, I mainly do Magic the Gathering, but once every few videos I might do some non-Magic stuff, whether it be related to gaming or otherwise. But if you like me and want to see more of what I'm doing, sub. And if you have any questions, or say you have, what's a good way to put it? Like collection issues where you don't have card A, what kind of you sub in for it? That's what the comments are for, and I'll try and answer it. And if there's a really good comment that's like relevant for the people, I'll totally like heart it or pin it or something. But with all that out of the way, just want to say thank you, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.